Hello and welcome to the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, George Karaoke. Thank you for joining us. While some people are of the opinion that high school students do not need classes to become a parent, others argue that parenting classes would not hurt. They might as well offer insights, knowledge, and skills that will help them if and when they do become parents. But what do the students have to say? Let's get straight to the debate.
The motion this week is: all high school students should take parenting classes. Proposing the motion, St. Austin's Academy. Opposing the motion, Nyeri High School. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. But in a twist, the audience also gets to have their say through the popular vote. This will see an extra 5% added to the school that wins this vote. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!
Let the debate begin. Proposer number 1.
And I believe that students should be taught parenting skills because of several factors that have changed over the years that have aided the parenting skills that now parents know. For example, family structure has changed. There are now more nuclear families. Nuclear families mean that now there's more 2 parents and 1 child, or 2 parents and 2 children. There's no more grandparents or uncles or aunts that we can learn from if our parents are not there to teach us. And also, we have more single-parent families. And because of this, they have to be the main bread earners for their family. So they do not have time to teach you the skills that you will have to use in your future. In your future. Also, I believe that the rise in the number of students going to boarding schools has affected the skills that they will acquire. For example, a child that goes to boarding school will be away from their parents and will be amongst their peers. Who will teach them then? Who will be there to tell them what's wrong or right? And who will be there to make sure that they are prepared for the future? Now, I'll take, for example, a friend of mine. She goes to USIU. She was in a lone parent family for a very long time. She was in an urbanized environment, which is what we have today. I mean, we cannot avoid it. Even though Africa is not very urbanized, it's still happening. Urbanization is occurring as we speak. So she came from an urbanized family, and she didn't have any life skills whatsoever. No one to teach her. The teachers in America are not allowed to give you life skills unless they're part of the curriculum. So she didn't know what to do. She's not pregnant. She already has a kid even before that. And she doesn't know how to take care of them. Her academics are just bonkers. So I believe that students should learn parenting skills from their teachers, because if they do not have primary socialization, the best option is to fall back onto secondary socialization. Thank you.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
I'm here to strongly oppose the motion that all high school students should take parental classes. And as a first, let me say that not every parenting situation is similar, for the simple reason that children are different. I was able to read the mission statement of the Parents Tool Shop. It's a website which provides parents with useful tips on children upbringing. And part of the mission said it's to provide individualized help to parents. Now, this can only be achieved if both parents are present, because then they'll be able to understand the situation of their child and be given specific guidance. And therefore, providing such classes to high school students would therefore prove ineffective. The second reason as to why I oppose this motion is because the society is fast changing. What was considered a perfect family 10 years ago is simply not what it is right now. For instance, 10 years ago, mothers were being advised on how to change the nappies of their babies and to make sure they're dry. But now diapers are proving an efficient method to do the same. Therefore, providing students with parenting information right now who are likely to become parents 10 and above years from now, the information provided might be relevant then. Therefore, the best method to follow, in my opinion, is to provide them with information when they are soon becoming parents or when they are already parents. Now, I believe love is a basic principle and a major driving force in child upbringing. What is left is a small fraction, and it's the skills. These skills, I believe, are already made available in places like clinics and medical centers where mothers take their children to be helped, and therefore providing these classes might not be as necessary as it's expected to be. My final point is that computers have brought us to a new era where e-learning is easily available for any parent who wishes to upgrade their child upbringing methods. Therefore, it's not necessary to provide classes for high school students. Thank you.
Proposal number 2, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lexi Njoki, representing St. Austin's Academy. And I believe that all high school students should get parenting skills. I think that, as you all may know, that these days you hear a lot about teen pregnancies and that sort of thing. And I think that it would help if they knew what they were doing, because most of these pregnancies are unintended and they're not prepared for parenting. According to the General Society survey, 820,000 teens in the US become pregnant every year, and 79% of the teens get pregnant when they're not married. Also, 80% of these pregnancies are unintended. So I strongly believe that we should teach parental skills in high school, because then even if you don't intend to be a parent or you think it's irrelevant, it'll help the child if it happens. Also, bad parenting skills can be detrimental to the child. It could cause emotional instability, or the child could become a social misfit. And also, the child might become a bad parent as well when they get kids. It can also, like the increasing rate in child abuse and all child-related issues could also be partly blamed on the lack of parenting skills, and also the increasing child orphans and the increasing rate of people who throw away children, or you find children in bins. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Opposing number 2.
My name is Jirma Christopher Boru from the Nyeri High School, and I'd like to distinctively oppose the motion that all high school students should take parenting classes. The reason as to so being is because as a high schooler, I'd like to discover myself as a teen. I'd like to do things that will be able to enable me to understand myself at this age. I'd like to know my abilities, my strengths, my weaknesses, all the things that will be able to make me a better person in future. But if you talk to me about how I can be able to become a better parent 10 to 15 years to come, right now, then what will I do then? I have to build my foundation now. I have to make it strong, and how I can be able to build myself is by focusing on one area. I'm not planning to be a parent right now. I'll be planning, as I've said, 10 to 15 years later. So training me to get parental skills right now will be making me an underdeveloped high schooler with parental skills. Secondly, adolescence. Adolescence, it's a stage whereby most of us are adolescents who get sensitive at a certain point. You get irritated, and you'd like to be able to not to socialize with your friends. You'd like to socialize with your friends, categorically know that he or she is a teen, and you also are a teenager, and you'd like not to be associated with the adults, which is the most of the case, because statistics prove, dear judges, I do geography, and I like statistics, that teenagers do not like to socialize a lot with adults. They want to keep themselves as teenagers. They want to grow as teenagers. They want to do their things as teenagers and not to think as adults. When you give us the aspects of parental skills, you're trying to make us think like adults and how we can be able to become better parents in the future. On my third point on identity. I'd like to identify myself in various relationships. I'd like to identify myself with friends. I'd like one time to have a girlfriend, not to think of having a kid, but I'd like to socialize on various aspects and not on parenting skills. It would be taking my time. I'd like to do things of my age and not the things that are not of my age. So at this juncture, I'd like to seek my dear proposers to come over our side, because high schoolers minus a life of parenting skills is equals to an academic life with a life of thrills. Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Osengo from St. George's Girls, and after the break, we'll see more debating, tackle more questions, and finally, hear what the judges have to say. Thank you. Stay tuned.
You talked about orphans and child abuse. So how do they relate to providing high school students with parenting classes? Thank you.
To me, basically, parenting is raising a child and nurturing and instilling moral values in him that are useful in life. So what exactly do you mean by saying that some children need different or special parenting skills? Thank you.
Proposal number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the questions that were posed to you.
I'd like to answer the first question, which is how parenting lessons benefit people who do not intend to have children. Okay, when you're in high school, you're young, you don't think about how many kids am I gonna have, or am I gonna have children. And if you make that decision, most people who say they're not gonna have children end up getting children. So if you end up not learning these skills, you're gonna end up treating your children very badly. And about child abuse, most parents who abuse their their children, it came like their parents did that to them. So they go on doing that to their children. But then if you're taught, like, this is your child, and you cannot treat him the way you were treated, you'd think twice about it. I'd like to say that we've seen on shows that young girls want to have children really badly. And they're always advised to stop, and they always, like, whenever their parents try to tell them something, they threaten them with, I'm gonna sue you. So their parents take them to shows, and I've seen so many girls who, like, they've bought so many things for kids, and they have it in their rooms, and it's just so shocking. But then they're taken to these places where you're given a doll that is like a baby. But then they end up, like, after 2 days of taking care of that doll, they end up crying and thinking, like, what was I thinking when I decided to have a baby? And you're also a child yourself, so you can't have a child. Thank you.
Opposer number 3.
I'll start by answering the question. She asked about e-learning. If we were to introduce parental classes right now, as of now, no one is getting education. Not everyone is getting education in the country. So if we were to introduce parental classes, still no one will get education. Still not everyone will get the parental classes. If we teach parental classes, we'll be teaching like for all equal, everyone will have equal children. And that's not the case. So that's why he opposed. And on to my points, I want to add that parental classes may scare students from the responsibility of parenthood, because you'll try and give them the role, you'll try and show them that the roles of a parent are like too much, and some of them may shy off from having families in the future. So thank you very much.
Let's have winding up statements from the proposing team.
I'd like to conclude by asking a question. Do you all agree that change is inevitable? Yes. I'm saying this because things that we did in the past to ensure that our children, our own children, could be able to take care of their own children are not the same anymore. E-learning, even though it is a good idea, is not the best idea, because it's a cold way of communicating. To reach the masses, you must be able to use a medium that is trusted. A teacher is trusted. The parents give over their children to their teachers in order for them to learn. Let's take, for example, sexual education. It scares people, but it's still needed. Physical education, it scares people, but it's still needed. It doesn't matter how young you are, or what family you come from, what's your culture. We have to bridge the cultural divide. Thank you.
Opposer number one, let's have winding up statements.
From the reasons that you stated, I believe you made a point clear that such lessons are best left for parents or people who are soon becoming parents, and it's not exactly necessary to provide them to students. Therefore, it's a major investment without commensurate returns. Thank you.
We're going to hear comments from the judges.
I want to commend Alexi because I could see you were nervous, but you got through it. I've seen people sit down halfway through, but you plowed through. And that's excellent. And I think the team made an effort to address the issues, but you could have been very passionate about it, considering what a big social issue it is right now. Let me come to now Nyeri High School. I think you had a very strong second debater there who was really pushing the issues, quite articulate, moving very fast on his points. Speakers were good. But I think conviction was not quite there with some of the things you were saying. I didn't believe you believed some of them, and perhaps this is particularly for Eric. I'm not sure you believed everything you were saying at certain points, or if you did, you didn't convince me that you did, and that's very important, convincing the audience that we're moving together, and I believe what I'm saying. If you need a moment just to deal with the nerves, there's a trick. Ask the audience a question and breathe. When you ask the audience a question, you give yourself a few moments to collect your thoughts, and then you can come back.
St. Austin's, you really lack the passion. But with language mastery, you did well. You did well. You had the issues. You had points, very strong points. But that conviction was really lacking. I hope if you go through, please check on that conviction. Convince us that you really have issues that you want to discuss. On the side of Nyeri, the second speaker, I think that was Chris Boru. That was a good introduction. The conviction was there. I could see proper stage utilization, and the topic was well understood. I think that's good. That's good for you. If you go through, you just maintain that or do more about that. Otherwise, I wish you well, and I hope you will do better than this. Thank you.
How many people think the proposal St. Austin's had a better argument? How many people feel the opposers, Nyeri High School, had a better argument? The opposers have it.
St. Austin's, the judges had you at 50%. Really think you guys can do a lot better than that. And hopefully through the debaters clubs, the great debaters clubs in your school, we can pick that grade up. Nyeri High School, 65%, plus the audience vote of 5%, takes the final scores to St. Austin's 50% and Nyeri High School 70%.
The cause of conflict in this country, in Africa, is the resources. Without resources, Kenya was in peace. Now that we have oil in Turkana, Kenyans have started rambling, and sooner or later, we'll fight for that.
The resource is there to help you. That is making the curse. God brought the Maasai with their cows from heaven. The cows don't eat the Maasais. The Maasais eat the cows. It means it was meant for their benefit.
The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!